If you're over 60, your bones might be silently begging for help, and no one's told you what's missing. You've probably heard all about calcium and vitamin D, right? But what if I told you there are 8 other crucial vitamins that play an even bigger role in keeping your bones strong, your joints pain-free, and your independence intact? And most people over 60 aren't getting nearly enough of them? If you've been struggling with stiffness, aches, slower recovery from little, injuries, or even shrinking height, this might be why. Why do so many older adults end up with fractures even though they take calcium supplements? Why do some people lose mobility fast after 60 while others stay agile well into their 80s? And what if the secret to protecting your bones has nothing to do with more calcium and everything to do with what you've forgotten to include? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll learn about the silent nutrient deficiencies that could be weakening your bones without you even realizing it. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our health secrets designed specifically for your age and your goals. Here's the thing: bones aren't just static structures. They're alive, constantly remodeling, repairing, and rebuilding. But after 60, this process slows way down. Not because it has to, but because your body becomes more sensitive to deficiencies, especially in nutrients that doctors rarely mention. And once those nutrients run low, your bones become brittle, your joints lose support, and the body begins a quiet, subtle decline. It doesn't happen overnight, but one day, getting up from a chair feels harder. Reaching overhead takes more effort. You avoid stairs without realizing it. And then one morning, you sneeze, feel a pop in your back, and you're told you've fractured a vertebra. That's not aging, that's depletion, a preventable kind. Now let's think about something. Have you noticed how kids can fall down hard and bounce right back up? But a gentle bump for someone over 60 could mean a cast or a cane for weeks. It's not just about age. It's about the internal environment of your bones. That protective matrix needs more than calcium. It needs a blend of 8 nutrients that act like a team. Some strengthen the internal web of collagen that keeps bones flexible. Others control how calcium is used, so it ends up in your bones, not your arteries. And still others reduce inflammation that quietly eats away at your joint support. And here's where it gets more interesting. These vitamins are not rare. In fact, they're in foods you see every day, but modern diets and even some medications block your ability to absorb them. Vitamin K2, for example, have you heard of it? Most haven't, yet it's critical for bone health, not just in forming bone, but in directing calcium into bone and keeping it out of places where it doesn't belong, like your heart valves or kidneys. Without enough K2, taking calcium is like pouring concrete without a mold. It goes where it shouldn't. Or think about boron. It's not technically a vitamin, but this trace mineral is vital in helping your body hold on to magnesium and vitamin D, both crucial to keeping bones dense. Yet, how often do you see boron listed on a supplement label? Hardly ever. And guess what else boron does? It helps balance estrogen and testosterone, 2 hormones that plummet after 60 and play a massive role in bone preservation for both men and women. Still, most people over 60 have never even heard of it. Have you? Then there's vitamin B12. You might think of it as an energy vitamin, but it's also essential for bone building. Low B12 has been linked to faster bone loss and a higher risk of fractures. And as we age, stomach acid declines, meaning even if you're eating B12-rich foods, you might not be absorbing enough, especially if you take antacids. Think about that. One small pill to reduce heartburn could be robbing your bones of what they need to survive. And that's not even touching on vitamin C. Yes, vitamin C, not just for your immune system. Your bones need it to build the collagen framework that holds minerals in place. Without enough vitamin C, bones become like fragile crystal. They shatter instead of flexing under pressure. The shocking part? Vitamin C is water-soluble, and your body doesn't store it. That means a few days of poor intake, and your supply starts to drop. Now think about how often older adults eat light meals, skip fruit, or follow diets that restrict carbs where vitamin C-rich foods live. Is it any wonder bone fragility becomes an epidemic after 60? Now pause with me for a second and ask yourself, could you be missing these? Have you ever been tested for vitamin K2, boron, or B12? Has any doctor talked to you about how your medication might block magnesium or zinc absorption? Probably not, and that's not your fault. The current healthcare model focuses on symptoms. You get a fracture? and they patch you up, but they rarely ask why the fracture happened in the first place, especially if you didn't fall. But here's where you take back control. When you understand how these forgotten nutrients interact, you realize just how much power you still have over your bone health. Magnesium, for example, is required for over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, including those that build bone. Yet stress, caffeine, alcohol, and even common medications like diuretics deplete magnesium stores quickly, and without it, your bones simply can't incorporate calcium efficiently. Then we have zinc, often talked about for immunity, but it plays a surprisingly central role in bone growth. Zinc is a cofactor in bone tissue regeneration. In fact, low zinc levels are found more often in older adults with osteoporosis. And yet, do we check for zinc deficiency when bones begin to weaken? Almost never. Instead, we throw calcium at the problem and hope for the best. And don't forget about omega-3s, not a vitamin, technically, but vital nonetheless. These healthy fats fight the inflammation that breaks down bone tissue. Chronic low-level inflammation accelerates bone loss. And after 60, inflammation tends to rise naturally unless you counteract it, either through diet or strategic supplementation. Omega-3s, especially from marine sources like EPA and DHA, have shown to preserve bone mineral density and even improve muscle function, crucial for fall prevention, which, by the way, is how most fractures happen, not because bones were weak, but because balance was off. So now imagine the compound benefit. Stronger bones, better balance, fewer falls. All of this brings us to perhaps the most overlooked piece of the puzzle: synergy. These nutrients don't work in isolation. Calcium without magnesium can harden soft tissues. Vitamin D without K2 can lead to calcium buildup in arteries. High protein intake without enough boron can leach calcium from bones. Every piece matters. Every interaction counts. And after 60, your body becomes more sensitive to these imbalances. So, if you're watching this thinking, I already take calcium and vitamin D, isn't that enough? The answer is no. Not if you're missing the other players. Not if your magnesium is depleted, your vitamin C is borderline, or your K2 is non-existent. Not if you're unknowingly sabotaging your own efforts through diet choices or medications. But here's the good news. With a few small shifts, simple changes to your grocery list or supplement routine, you can rebuild that foundation. You can prevent the next fall from becoming a fracture. You can stand taller, move freer, and stay active longer. If you're over 50 and your joints ache when you get out of bed, go upstairs, or just try to enjoy a walk, it's not your age and it's not your fault. The real issue? Your body's running out of a natural substance that cushions your joints like a shock absorber. And most supplements out there, glucosamine, collagen, all of it, don't fix this. But now, researchers have discovered a breakthrough that can actually restore what your joints are missing. And people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s are seeing real relief. If you're feeling stiff, sore, or weaker lately, stop guessing. Check the link in the pinned comment now. And here's where things really start to get interesting, because once you realize how interconnected all these nutrients are, it changes the entire conversation around aging. It's no longer about just slowing down or getting old. It becomes about optimization, about helping your body keep doing what it was designed to do, just with a little more support. And if you're over 60, that support often starts with giving your body back what's been quietly slipping away for years. Let's circle back to magnesium for a moment, because this one is so foundational, yet most people are walking around chronically deficient. Why? Because modern diets, especially those low in whole foods and high in processed ones, are nearly devoid of magnesium-rich sources. Even vegetables grown in mineral-depleted soil today contain far less magnesium than they did just 50 years ago. Add to that the fact that aging intestines don't absorb magnesium as well, and you've got a recipe for low levels that can directly affect bone strength, muscle cramps, sleep, and energy. And remember, magnesium is essential for converting vitamin D into its active form. So even if you're taking D supplements every day, without magnesium, your body can't use them properly. That's a huge detail that gets overlooked all the time. And now let's talk about vitamin A, but not the kind you think. We're not talking about beta-carotene, the plant-based form found in carrots. That form has to be converted into active Vitamin A, and many older adults have a reduced ability to make that conversion efficiently. We're talking about retinol, the active form found in animal-based sources like liver, egg yolks, and full-fat dairy. Retinol plays a key role in bone growth and remodeling. Without enough of it, the process of breaking down old bone and laying down new tissue becomes unbalanced. Bones can become brittle. But here's the twist. Too much vitamin A can be harmful if it's not balanced with vitamin D. Again, we come back to synergy. It's not about megadosing, it's about harmony. And speaking of balance, let's bring up another unsung hero, silica. This trace mineral doesn't get much attention, but it helps your body form the collagen matrix that bone mineralization depends on. Think of collagen as the scaffolding on which minerals like calcium and phosphorus build. Without strong collagen, bones lose their resilience, and collagen synthesis depends on silica, vitamin C, and protein, all things that many seniors underconsume. Ever wonder why bones in the elderly shatter so easily, while younger bones bend or bruise? That flexible inner matrix built on collagen starts to degrade. And without enough of the right materials to rebuild it, fractures become almost inevitable. Now, what about coenzyme Q10? You've probably heard of it in the context of heart health, especially if you're on statins, which are known to deplete it. But did you know it also plays a role in the energy production inside your bone cells? Bones aren't just mineral blocks. They contain cells called osteoblasts and osteoclasts, and both require energy to function. CoQ10 supports the mitochondria inside those cells, allowing them to do their job, building up or breaking down bone, efficiently. As CoQ10 levels drop with age or medication use, so does that efficiency. The result? Sluggish remodeling, weaker bones. But let's not just talk about vitamins and minerals, let's talk lifestyle. Because no supplement in the world can make up for chronic stress, poor sleep, or inactivity, all of which affect bone health. Stress, for instance, raises cortisol, and when cortisol is chronically high, it tells your body to pull calcium out of your bones to buffer the perceived threat. Over time, that weakens your skeleton from the inside. On top of that, high cortisol suppresses collagen production. So once again, you're hitting bone health from two sides. Less mineral, less matrix. So now you're probably wondering, what should I be doing daily to actually protect my bones? Let's get practical. Start with food. Make sure you're getting leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, not just for calcium, but for magnesium, vitamin K1, and other micronutrients. Add fermented foods like natto, sauerkraut, or kefir to boost vitamin K2 and beneficial gut bacteria. Eat pasture-raised eggs, fatty fish, and organ meats to increase your intake of active vitamin A, D, and CoQ10. Snack on nuts and seeds for zinc, boron, and magnesium, and rotate in root vegetables and herbs like parsley and horsetail, which are rich in silica. As for movement, nothing builds bone like weight-bearing exercise. Walking is good, but resistance training is better. Even light weights, done regularly, send signals to your bones that they need to stay strong. And don't overlook balance work. Gentle yoga, Tai Chi, or even just standing on one leg while brushing your teeth. These simple activities improve proprioception and prevent falls. What about supplementation? If you're over 60 and your diet isn't perfect, and let's face it, whose is, it may be wise to take a comprehensive bone support formula. Look for one that contains magnesium, preferably glycinate or citrate for better absorption, vitamin D3, vitamin K2, both MK4 and MK7 if possible, boron, zinc, and maybe even silica. But remember, more isn't always better. You don't want to flood your system. You want to support it in a way that mimics nature. And hydration? Believe it or not, even that affects your bones. Water helps transport minerals, lubricate joints, and support detoxification. If you're dehydrated, you're more prone to cramps, joint stiffness, and slower recovery from minor injuries. So if you're not drinking enough, start. Aim for half your body weight in ounces as a baseline. Now, let's come full circle. Think again about those 8 forgotten vitamins. They're not really forgotten by the body, just by the mainstream conversation. The truth is, your body is still ready and willing to build strong, resilient bones well into your 60s, 70s, and even 80s. It just needs the right materials, the right signals, the right support. Aging doesn't have to mean breaking down. It can mean breaking free Free from medications, from fractures, from fear. You deserve to feel confident in your body. You deserve to lift your grandkids, to hike, to garden, to dance, to live on your own terms. And it all starts with rebuilding what time and misinformation have taken from you. These 8 nutrients aren't trendy. They're essential. They're foundational. And now that you know about them, you can do something most people never will. Take action before the crisis hits. That's what smart aging looks like. And if you found even one insight today that makes you rethink your health strategy, don't stop here. Watch the next video that's popping up on your screen right now. It's packed with simple, powerful tips that build directly on everything you've just learned. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.